Meet Christine. She loves shopping. And this is the sound of fashion overload. Too many fabulous things, not enough space. So Christine started selling with The RealReal.
I've always loved collecting designer pieces. Gucci bags, Prada heels. But my style keeps evolving. Selling with The RealReal? Game changer. I earn more, and they do everything.
Seriously, just drop off your items or schedule a pickup. We handle the photos, descriptions, pricing, even shipping. You just sit back and watch your items sell fast to our 38 million members.
And I get peace of mind knowing I earn more selling with The RealReal than anywhere else.
Exactly. That's the sound of your closet working for you. The RealReal. Earn more, save time, sell fast. And right now, you can get an extra $100 site credit when you sell for the first time. Go to therealreal.com to get your extra $100. Therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com.
And away we go, episode 1298 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Wednesday, April 8th, 2026, and our rebuilding and tanking Washington Wizards have done it.
The damn Washington Wizards!
Yeah, those guys. Thank you, ESPN Stephen A. Smith. The Wizards on Tuesday night suffered yet another humiliating loss, a 129-98 loss to the Chicago Bulls at Capital One Arena. The Wizards in the NBA's 2025-2026 regular season now are 17-62, worst record in the NBA, and they, with this loss, clinched finishing with a bottom four record in the NBA, thus guaranteeing keeping the team's reported top 8 protected first-round pick in the 2026 NBA draft. One of the main objectives of this season number 3 of the Wizards tanking was keeping that reported top 8 protected first-round pick, and the Wizards have done just that. Mission accomplished. Much more later in the show. Hello and welcome to this Wednesday installment of the Al Galdi podcast. Next segment, we continue our series of guests providing great insight on significant players who the Washington Commanders have signed as unrestricted free agents this offseason, as we'll speak with Indianapolis Colts insider Mike Chappell of FOX59 / CBS4 Sports in Indianapolis about safety Nick Cross, who Washington signed as a Colts unrestricted free agent last month. Also, Mike will give us perspective on Washington's failed pursuit of Colts unrestricted free agent receiver Alec Pierce, who re-signed with the Colts last month. And Mike will tell us how committed the Colts are to former New York Giants quarterback and notorious Washington killer Daniel Jones as QB1. Mike Chappell, he has covered the Colts since the team moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis in 1984. How about this? The media room at the Colts team facility is named after Mike Chappell. Mike Chappell, next segment on Nick Cross and more. And also on the show, I'll talk Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles. Another late-blown lead by the Nats in another loss, a 7-6, 10-inning loss to the St. Louis Cardinals at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening in a game in which the Nats blew a 5-2 seventh-inning lead. The O's, they overcame a 2-1 eighth-inning deficit in a 4-2 win at the Chicago White Sox on Tuesday. Before we get to feedback, the Washington Commanders, they on Tuesday morning announced the hiring of John Glenn as assistant special teams coach. And if that name sounds familiar, it should. And no, I am not talking about the astronaut, John Glenn. John Glenn, the football coach. He was Washington's assistant special teams coach from February 2024 to February 2025 when he left to become the Las Vegas Raiders linebackers coach. Now he's back with Washington as assistant special teams coach. Washington already had Brian Schneider as assistant special teams coordinator, but he has been dealing with cancer, and so there is a role for John Glenn. All the best to Brian Schneider, and welcome back, John Glenn. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Email from Rick Proctor on Washington general manager Adam Peters potentially trading down from the team's number 7 overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Writes Rick, Al, trust all is well. Have you been listening to the Grand Poobahs discussing trading back out of spot 7 in the draft? Do the Poobahs have amnesia? Apparently so. Adam got schooled by Howie 2 years ago, Adam's first draft, at pick 51, 2024. Howie says, I'll take your 51 and give you 2 picks in the second. Adam Greenlee says 2 is better than 1, right? Our team has so many holes. What did Howie do? Draft a stud cornerback at 51. Fleeced. It's all true. I haven't forgotten. I remember. Stick and pick. Mansour Delane, cornerback, LSU, Shutdown Island, known as Delane Island. Best cornerback since Darrell Green and Champ Bailey. Let Adam cook. Thank you for the email, Rick. Yes, let Adam cook. So I am one of the grand poobahs championing Washington trading down from 7. My ideal scenario is our team trading down from 7. A, because the team badly needs to replenish its diminished draft capital. And B, because this draft is viewed as being not top heavy. And so the difference between the number 7 overall pick and, say, the number 25 overall pick may not be much. It is true that the trade down with the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2024 NFL Draft right now does not look so great, but you shouldn't always judge a decision by its result. The idea of trading down is good. In the crapshoot that is the NFL Draft, more picks are better than fewer picks. More swings are better than fewer swings. And as Rick noted, Washington at the time of the 2024 NFL Draft, and even now, very much needed help at a lot of positions. That trade down right now doesn't look so great is more an indictment of who Adam Peters took, not the trade itself. But let me also make clear that who Peters took could look a lot better at the end of the 2026 season. We still have a ways to go before passing final definitive judgment on Peters' 2024 NFL draft class. The trade was as follows. So the Commanders on Friday night, April 26, 2024, traded 3 picks. The team's second 2024 second-round pick, the number 40 overall pick, a 2024 third-round pick, the number 78 overall pick, and a 2024 fifth-round pick, the number 152 overall pick, which was acquired from the Seattle Seahawks in the trading of quarterback Sam Howell. Washington traded those 3 picks to the Eagles for 2 2024 second-round picks, the numbers 50 and 53 overall picks, and a 2024 fifth-round pick, the number 161 overall pick. Washington, with those 3 picks, took the following guys: cornerback Mikey Sainristil, tight end Ben Sinnott, and linebacker Dominique Hampton. The Eagles, with the number 40 overall pick, took cornerback Cooper DeJean, who has been terrific for them. We still have hope for Sainristil and Sinnott, but Sainristil is coming off a really bad 2025 season, off an encouraging 2024 rookie season, and Sinnott just has not done much over his 2 NFL seasons. Hampton is long gone. Washington last August 11th announced having released him. But again, the idea of trading down in the NFL draft is the right idea. What you do with your newly acquired pick or picks is on you. And I would have no problem with Adam Peters if he sticks and picks at 7, taking LSU cornerback Mansour Delane. Now, he is a smaller corner. He, this past February 27th at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, measured as being just 5'11 and 3/4 of an inch and 187 pounds. But he can run. He had LSU's Pro Day on March 23rd, ran a blazing 4.35 second 40-yard dash. He is a local. He went to Archbishop Spalding High School in Severn, Maryland, and he played for Virginia Tech for the 2022 through 2024 seasons, then transferred to LSU for the 2025 season. If you are listening to this podcast via Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can rate the podcast with a star rating. 5-star ratings are greatly appreciated. They help us out a lot. Thank you for doing them.
Big thanks to our sponsor, BetterHelp, for partnering with us for this important conversation about mental health.
This is Steve Smith here, former NFL wide receiver and host of the 89 show on YouTube. So having a counselor and working with BetterHelp, that gives you an opportunity to really start to unpack. But people don't understand, when you unpack things, you also open up a box that you're not always sure what's inside. So I think that's why seeing a professional is extremely important. If you need someone to open up to, visit BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/89 to get started.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Meet Christine. She loves shopping. And this is the sound of fashion overload. Too many fabulous things, not enough space. So Christine started selling with The RealReal.
I've always loved collecting designer pieces. Gucci bags, Prada heels. But my style keeps evolving. Selling with The RealReal? Game changer. I earn more, and they do everything.
Seriously, just drop off your items or schedule a pickup. We handle the photos, descriptions, pricing, even shipping. You just sit back and watch your items sell fast to our 38 million members.
And I get peace of mind knowing I earn more selling with The RealReal than anywhere else.
Exactly. That's the sound of your closet working for you. The RealReal. Earn more, save time, sell fast. And right now, you can get an extra $100 site credit when you sell for the first time. Go to therealreal.com to get your extra $100. Therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com.
The worst unit on the 2025 Washington Commanders to me, and I'm guessing to many of you, was the secondary. The biggest addition to the secondary so far this offseason has been safety Nick Cross. Washington on March 13th announced the signing of Indianapolis Colts unrestricted free agent safety Nick Cross. The contract per overthecap.com and spottrack.com is a 2-year, $13 million deal with $6.05 million fully guaranteed at signing. The 2026 season will be just his age 25 season. He's a local, went to DeMatha Catholic High School in Hyattsville, Maryland, then went to the University of Maryland, played for the Terrapins for the 2019 through 2021 seasons, was taken by the Colts in the third round of the 2022 NFL Draft. Across over his 4 seasons with the Colts, played in 67 of a possible 68 regular season games. I'm very pleased to welcome back to the Al Galdi podcast, Indianapolis Colts insider Mike Chappell of FOX59/CBS4 Sports in Indianapolis. Mike has covered the Colts since the team moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis in 1984. Heck, the media room at the Colts team facility is named after Mike Chappell. The team in October 2024 dedicated the media room at the Indiana Farm Bureau Football Center to Mike Chappell. You could follow Mike on X at mchappell51. Chappell is spelled Chappell. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well. Nice to talk to you. What is it like having the media room at the Colts team facility being named after you? Quite the honor.
Yeah, quite the surprise. It was a regular Wednesday. We're going to have the coach come in and all this, and they bring my wife in and guys that I used to work with at the Indianapolis Star, and I thought I probably cussed under my breath because I didn't know what was going on. I always say it's a great honor that you don't. At least it wasn't the Mike Chappell Memorial media room, so I was still there to enjoy it. Great honor. You just try to do your job for however many years it is, and just do it the right way.
And you clearly have. Congrats on that wonderful honor. So Nick Cross, what does Washington have in him?
Good player. Great player. No, good player. Very good player. Probably a box safety more than a cover safety. I mean, a deep safety, but they drafted him very young. He's just now 24. He turns 25 in September, and he's played 4 years. So a lot of experience. He's grown into position. The first 2 years there were a couple of spots where they tried him as a starter, and it just didn't work. Last 2 years, he's hardly come off the field. He's among the top tacklers in the league, probably top 10 tacklers in the league, regardless of position. He's got 5 career interceptions, so he does make plays. But he's a guy that kind of is more effective closer to the line than deep. That's why he and Cam Bynum worked so well together last year here. So Washington's getting a quality player. I'm a little surprised that after I saw the contract, I think it's about $6 million a year, which is not good for Nick, but it's not a super duper contract. at that figure, I thought they might bring him back, but they've got pieces in place to sort of replace him. They're losing a good player, and you guys are getting a very good player.
I was going to ask you, why didn't the Colts re-sign Nick Cross, given that he did not sign some onerous contract with Washington?
Well, other than they've always got priorities, and their first priorities were Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce, and that was almost $250 million in investment, and the guarantees $120-some million. So that limits you. Then they've signed a lot of depth, but I really think that when they got those two players done, they were going to try to replace a lot of guys. They get rid of Zaire Franklin. They trade him, who's a cornerstone. Michael Pittman, they trade him. So they were trying to make some adjustments. And they've got a kid, Hunter Wohler. I think he was a 6th or 7th round draft pick last year. Misses the season with a Liz Frank injury. He's going to be back. They're high on him. And I think when you've got the way it is in the NFL, as you know, when you've got big money in a position, the secondary's got Cam Bynum, Charvarius Ward, Sauce Gardner. At some point, you need Kenny Moore. At some point, you need to go a little less expensive at one of those positions. And I think that was the case here.
Regarding the journey of Nick Cross, he got benched just 2 games into his 2022 rookie regular season, started those first 2 games, and then did not start again the rest of that regular season. What was going wrong, and what has gone well since then?
I think he just wasn't ready. I mean, again, he was young. They drafted him young. I'm not saying they drafted him with the idea that the rookie year would be a redshirt year, but he showed things early on. And then I don't know if the game was a little too big for him, that was too quick for him. It probably benefited him to sit and watch and get his snaps when he could. But these last 2 years, again, he's emerged. Again, he started, 30-some games, 34 games, has barely come off the field. And again, he's just been a solid player. The tackles are, I'm looking here at the tackles, it's over 100 the last 2 years, 146 and 120. You know, sometimes guys get tackles and you're thinking, oh, yeah, but do I remember him? He made tackles that limited damage up near the line of scrimmage. So this is a guy that made plays. I think he's still growing into the position. I'm not sure he'll ever be a guy you can put back and rely on deep coverage, but he's good on underneath stuff, on tight ends. So all around great player, good player, not a great player.
Nick Cross is a superb athlete, scored a 9.87 out of a possible 10 in Kentley Platty's relative athletic score metric. That ranked number 12 out of 846 free safety prospects from 1987 through 2022. What did you see from him with the Colts from an athleticism standpoint?
And that's one of the things whenever they do their draft and that they go big on the RAS. They love. I guess they kind of feel like that. If you've got the athleticism, you can work on other things. And we saw that with him. That was never an issue. So, again, I hope the best for him. I'm a little disappointed that he's not back, because the one thing that you want to do when you're a contending team, what you want to be a contending team is have good players. And, yes, you need those 8 or 9 difference makers if you can have that many. And then you need that second tier of guys that, you don't worry about that guy. And right now the Colts go into the season without that guy. They're going to have a guy at that position that's not played the position at this level before, and that's a risk.
Best safety for the Colts since the franchise moved to Indianapolis. Is the answer Bob Sanders?
Yeah, whenever we have the discussion of what if, every team's got him. If injuries hadn't impacted this guy, Andrew Luck would be at the top of the list. What if? But Bob Sanders, my goodness, he was defensive player of the year the one year, and he is the overriding reason they've got a Lombardi trophy. He came back and just transformed the defense, and he was just too physical and aggressive for his body. It just couldn't take it. I think I haven't got his stats in front of me, but he missed as many games as he played. It's like 64 and 64. It's incredible when he played. Again, he's guys, we've got a guy here on an analyst. He says ambient players. Who gives you headaches? Who do you game plan for? And he's a guy that teams game plan for. He was fun to watch, but his body just couldn't take it.
What can you tell us about Nick Cross, the guy? Like, do you have any sense of what kind of person he is?
No, other than the locker room interaction, I mean, that's kind of our extent. Never a problem, always accessible, always a good guy to talk to. We've all been in locker rooms where there's guys that have been difficult to approach. I guess that's the way. But no, he's one of the guys that was a go-to guy, understood his role, understood that dealing with the media was part of it. It is, whether players want to agree to it or not. Never a problem. I think his teammates get along with him. So again, if you're going to bring in guys, it's always important to get as much information as you can. This guy will not be a problem. He's been durable, knock on wood. So I can't even remotely think of anything negative to say, well, you guys got to be a little bit careful about this. There's none of that with Nick Cross.
In terms of the Colts' usage of Nick Cross, was he pretty stationary or did he get moved around some?
He got moved around some, but he was almost always near the line of scrimmage because that's where he's most effective. Again, your safety's got to do some cover, so he would cover the underneath routes and the tight ends. Very versatile. It's just coverage. Some players have that value and some players don't. He's not a liability in coverage. That's just simply not one of his strengths.
We're talking with Indianapolis Colts insider Mike Chappell of FOX59/CBS4 Sports in Indianapolis. He has covered the Colts since the team moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis in 1984. The first major NFL item after the start of the legal tampering period this offseason at 12 p.m. Eastern on Monday, March 9th, was that unrestricted free agent receiver Alec Pierce had agreed to re-sign with the Colts. The contract per overthecap.com and spottrack.com is a 4-year, $114 million deal with $60 million fully guaranteed at signing. And we later on that day of March 9th had reports that Washington was in on Pierce. I like Alec Pierce. He has led the NFL in yards per reception for each of the last 2 regular seasons. He's entering just his age 26 season. Is he worth this contract that the Colts have given him?
I guess you're worth what somebody will pay you. It's so funny when everybody says, what's the market for this guy? Well, it's what one team will pay you. $114 million over 4 years for a guy who's had 1,000-yard season, 1,003 or 7, whatever it was, and he's never caught more than like 47 balls in a season. But again, this is a league about difference makers, and he's got the most yards per catch since he's been in the league. It's like 17. And the last 2 years, he's over 20. He's led the league in yards per catch back-to-back years. The last guy to do that was Flipper Anderson in 1989 and 1990. So it's something else. That's what you're paying for. And that's what Washington would have got, this deep threat who's still emerging as an all-around guy who runs all the route tree. My concern, and Chris Ballard and I have talked about this, is now that you're paying him this and you get rid of Michael Pittman, you trade him to Pittsburgh. Where does Pittman's volume come from? He was getting 130 targets a year. I think it's crazy to think that Alec Pierce is going to all of a sudden get that many more. He'll get more, obviously, but sometimes you don't want to lessen the guy's strength by trying to do more than what he's capable of doing. But we'll see his volume go up. I hope that with the volume going up, while the quantity goes up, I hope the quality doesn't lessen. I don't think they would do that because, again, deep threats, Addison and Detroit and guys like that, they just do great things for an offense.
Something that we've tried to figure out with Washington's pursuit of Alec Pierce was the Commanders not getting him a function of them not going high enough with their offer or a function of him just wanting to re-sign with the Colts? Is your sense that he just went to the highest bidder or that he really wanted to re-sign with the Colts?
Probably both. I mean, whenever players say, I really like this team, we had one guy a couple of years ago say, well, they offered me the most money. That's seldom said. It really is. But he likes it here. They've treated him well. He's got a great relationship with Reggie Wayne, position coach, all-time Colts great. And also he liked the synergy he had with Daniel Jones. So this was a little bit dicey because Pierce wanted an assurance from the Colts that Daniel Jones would be back. And until they got Jones done, where they transition tagged him and then they did the long-term deal. But Alec Pierce wanted some assurance. He's had like 9 different starting quarterbacks. Well, that's ridiculous in 4 years. But they gave him an assurance that Jones would be here. And then it was an easy fix once that was done.
The Colts QB1, Daniel Jones, a guy who we as Washington fans got to know quite well during his time with the New York Giants. The Colts in March 2025 signed Jones as an unrestricted free agent to a 1-year contract. They last month announced having placed a transition tag on Jones and then announced having re-signed him. The contract per overthecap.com and spottrack.com is a 2-year, $88 million deal with $49.49 million fully guaranteed at signing. How committed are the Colts to Jones as their QB1 moving forward?
2 things, $88 million over 2 years. And last year they traded 2 first-round draft picks for Sauce Gardner because they were convinced that Daniel Jones was the guy. Now, then he tears the Achilles. But no, I'll put it this way. If he's not the guy, they're in trouble. There really is no plan B. Riley Leonard showed really well as a rookie last year when he got the chance, but it's Daniel Jones. How soon will he be ready? I don't know. They say week 1, which in my mind means he's got to be ready mid-training camp. You just don't step off, the rehab field. So no, they're all in. They're pot committed to Daniel Jones. If you get the first 8 games or the first 10 games last year, I'm fine with that. But over the course of his career, we just have to be honest, he's had injury concerns, and he's really had like 2 good years, 2 quality years. The 1 year he led them to the playoffs, the Giants to the playoffs, and then last year until the injury. So they're committed to him. The $88 million showed that, but also the Sauce Gardner trade last year where if there was a plan B, if it's not Jones, it's a first-round pick this year or next year where those are gone. So it's Daniel Jones or bust, and I'm hoping, since I cover the team, I'd much rather see a team succeed than I've been there for 1-15s. It's no fun. It's no fun at all. So hopefully this works for the team and for the fan base.
I'm with you. We have had plenty of bad seasons here over the last few decades.
It's awful. It's excruciating.
It's funny, the last time that we spoke was 4 years ago. Episode 277 of this podcast, March 2022. I had you on to discuss quarterback Carson Wentz, who Washington had just acquired from the Colts via trade. And you think about where your team has been and the quarterbacks who the team has had, and you just shake your head sometimes.
Yeah, it was. They almost got more to get rid of him than they did to acquire him. I thought he was a long-term answer. I hoped he was a long-term answer, and it didn't work out. As you guys know, when you don't have the quarterback, everything else is secondary. And I've always said that while they've had all these quarterbacks over the last, since Andrew Luck's retirement, and it's not worked, except for the 1 year with Phillip Rivers, you're wasting talent around him. Quentin Nelson and DeForest Buckner and Jonathan Taylor. These guys are great players, and you can't fulfill your expectations because the quarterback's not the right guy. So it's purgatory, and until you get the guy, you're just kind of flailing in the darkness.
So true. Indianapolis Colts insider Mike Chappell of FOX59/CBS4 Sports in Indianapolis. He has covered the Colts since the team moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis in 1984. Mike, thank you. All the best.
Thank you much. Stay in touch.
All right. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. It will fight for you and win for you. Lead attorney Chris Nace is a big Washington Commanders fan and a big supporter of this podcast. And his firm wins trials. Just recently, an $8 million jury verdict in Baltimore City Circuit Court. If you have a case, contact the Nace Law Group. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group is tremendous. It is a Washington, D.C.-based family law firm that handles medical malpractice, personal injury, birth injury, legal malpractice, and consumer protection cases, offering aggressive advocacy for victims in Washington, D.C. and West Virginia. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. It was not easy. It required a total team effort, but our rebuilding and tanking Washington Wizards, they have clinched keeping the reported top 8 protected first-round pick in the perceived to be loaded 2026 NBA draft.
The Bulls, the better team on this night. 129-98 is going to be the final score as Chicago ends a 7-game losing streak. And they emphatically end that 7-game losing streak. 129-98, the final.
Dave Johnson on the Washington Wizards radio network. A 129-98 loss to the Chicago Bulls at Capital One Arena on Tuesday night. The Wizards in the NBA's 2025-2026 regular season fell to 17-62, worst record in the NBA. And they, with this loss, clinched finishing with a bottom 4 record in the NBA, thus guaranteeing keeping the reported top 8 protected first-round pick in the 2026 NBA draft. The Wizards fell to 1-23 over their last 24 games. Yes, 1-23 over the team's last 24 games. Our team has rallied down the stretch and come up big in the tank. This hopefully is the final season of the Wizards' 3-season tank. There are multiple reasons to believe that this is the final season of the Wizards' 3-season tank, including the team this season having acquired Trae Young and Anthony Davis via trade, and the 2027 NBA draft not being viewed as a good draft, and the NBA being likely to implement anti-tanking rules that take effect next season. But the Wizards tanking this season has been very much on, in large part because of that reported top 8 protected first-round pick that goes all the way back to the John Wall, Russell Westbrook trade of December 2020. The 2026 NBA draft is the final draft in which the Wizards could have conveyed a first-round pick as part of the John Wall, Russell Westbrook trade of December 2020. The Wizards on December 2nd, 2020 traded Wall and a protected first-round pick to the Houston Rockets for Westbrook. The reported terms of the protected first-round pick: 2023 lottery protected, 2024 top 12 protected, 2025 top 10 protected, 2026 top 8 protected. If the pick has not conveyed by the 2026 NBA draft, and the pick will not be conveying by the 2026 NBA draft, then the pick becomes a second-round pick in the 2026 NBA draft and a second-round pick in the 2027 NBA draft. Bottom line, it has behooved our Wizards this season to tank and tank hard in order to not lose that first-round pick in the 2026 NBA draft, which is viewed as a great draft, and now we know that the Wizards are keeping that pick. The nature of this loss to the Bulls at Capital One Arena on Tuesday night was something. The Wizards trailed for all of the second, third, and fourth quarters. Wizards head coach Brian Keefe, a key engineer in this tank. He did not start the Wizards' best player in recent weeks, Will Riley. Okay, that's one thing. Riley at times has been coming off the bench. But Keefe played Riley for just 1 minute 48 seconds in the first quarter. Now, Riley did play for 30-44 off the bench for the game, but he went just 1 for 13 from the field. 0 for 5 on threes and 1 for 8 on twos. Below, Coulibaly returned from a one-game absence caused by a right heel ailment. Justin Champagnie returned from a one-game absence caused by a right knee contusion. But the list of Wizards players who did not play in this game was a mile long. Our tanking team made sure to lose this this game and clinch keeping that first-round pick. Jaden Hardy did not play due to lower back spasms. Trey Johnson did not play for a second consecutive game due to a right foot sprain. He, for this game, was listed as also dealing with lower back soreness. Tristan Vukcevic did not play for a second consecutive game due to a right knee contusion. Alex Sarr did not play for a sixth consecutive game due to a left big toe injury. Keyshawn George did not play for a 19th consecutive game due to a grade 2 UCL tear in his left elbow. The Wizards this past Thursday afternoon, April 2nd, announced that George was done for the season. Speaking of that, Brian Keefe, during a pregame session with reporters on Tuesday, said that neither Trae Young nor Anthony Davis is expected to play again this season. Trae Young did not play for a 12th consecutive game due to a re-injured right quadriceps and also lower back irritation. Anthony Davis did not play for a 30th time in 30 games since being acquired by the Wizards on February 5th, what was 2026 NBA trade deadline day. He's not playing due to a finger sprain on his left hand. D'Angelo Russell did not play for a 30th time in 30 games since being acquired by the Wizards via the Anthony Davis trade. Russell is being listed as not being with the Wizards. He is not expected to ever play for the Wizards, and Cam Whitmore is done for the season due to right shoulder deep vein thrombosis. I am and always will be a Washington Bullets / Washington Wizards fan. The team's tank of the last 3 seasons has been prolonged and painful and in so many ways absurd, but the tank, in my opinion, has been the right thing to do. I fully endorse what Monumental Basketball president Michael Winger and Wizards general manager Will Dawkins are doing with this team. Those guys, since taking over Wizards basketball operations in the 2023 offseason, I believe have done a good job. And the tank on Tuesday night paid off, with the team clinching, keeping the reported top 8 protected first-round pick in a 2026 NBA draft that is widely viewed as a terrific draft. The Wizards have just 3 games left in this regular season. Next up for the Wizards is another game against the Chicago Bulls, home to the Bulls, Thursday night at 7. Well, if you like seeing a lot of pitches, the Washington Nationals game on Tuesday evening was the game for you. A 7-6, 10-inning loss to the St. Louis Cardinals at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening in Game 2 of a 3-game series. This was a game in which the Nats blew a 5-2 7th-inning lead. This was a game in which the Nats used 6 pitchers, and they combined to issue 10 walks, a hit by pitch, and 2 wild pitches, in combining for a staggering 200 pitches. The first 1-2-3 half of an inning was not until the bottom of the 8th. The game took 3 hours and 23 minutes, and yeah, the Nats did lose. They in MLB's 2026 regular season fell to 4-7. Another loss in which the Nats blew a late-game lead last Wednesday afternoon, April 1st, a 6-5, 10-inning loss at the Philadelphia Phillies in a game in which the Nats blew a 5-1 7th-inning lead. This past Sunday, April 5th, an 8-6 loss to the Los Angeles Dodgers at Nationals Park in a game in which the Nats blew a 6-1 6th-inning lead. The Nats starting pitcher in this 7-6, 10-inning loss to the Cardinals at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening was Cade Cavalli. He, for the second time in 3 starts in this regular season, was highly inefficient. He allowed 2 runs, 1 earned in 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 4 hits, all of which were singles, but he issued 4 walks. He recorded 3 strikeouts. He, over his mere 4 2/3 innings, threw a lot of pitches and a lot of balls. He threw 94 pitches, just 53 strikes versus 41 balls, and so he lasted for just 4 2/3 innings. Cavalli, in the top of the first, allowed 2 runs, 1 earned on a walk, 2 singles, and a fielding error by shortstop C.J. Abrams, who bobbled his fielding of a 1-out grounder by Jordan Walker with runners at the corners, allowing a run to score. The grounder should have resulted in a 6-4-3 double play, but still, Cavalli was not good. Here was Nats manager Blake Butera during his postgame press conference on Tuesday night on Cade Cavalli.
I talked to Cade after the fact, and I told him I knew he didn't have his best stuff tonight, at least in terms of execution. You could tell he wasn't really able to land his slider as frequently he has in the past. He seemed to be behind hitters a lot. He had to use a lot of pitches, 4 2/3 on 94 pitches. I told him I was proud of how hard he battled and pitched tonight without having his best stuff.
You look at Cade Cavalli's 3 starts in this regular season. The 10-4 win at the Chicago Cubs on opening day, March 26, 3 runs, 2 earned in 3 2/3 innings. The 6-5 10-inning loss at the Philadelphia Phillies last Wednesday afternoon, April 1st, 1 run in 6 innings. Now this 7-6 10-inning loss to the St. Louis Cardinals at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening, 2 runs, 1 earned in 4 2/3 innings. And then there was the Nats relief pitching. In this 7-6 10-inning loss to the Cardinals at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening, 5 Nats relievers combined to allow 5 runs, 4 earned in 5 1/3 innings. Paxton Schultz somehow officially tossed a scoreless inning despite facing 6 batters and recording just 3 outs. He issued a walk, a hit by pitch, and a wild pitch, and gave up a single. He threw 26 pitches, just 13 strikes versus 13 balls. So Paxton Schultz, the Nats on Tuesday afternoon announced having returned him from his minor league rehab assignment and having reinstated him from the 15-day injured list. He had been on that since March 23rd, retroactive to March 22nd. This due to right elbow inflammation. The Nats this past January 9th announced having claimed Schultz off waivers from the Toronto Blue Jays. P.J. Poulin, he allowed 1 run in 1 1/3 innings. He in the top of the 7th allowed a run on a 2-out opposite field solo homer by Jordan Walker to right center field to cut the Nats lead to 5-3. Poulin in his outing also issued 2 walks. Gus Varland, he allowed 2 runs in 1 inning. He in the top of the 8th gave up a 2-out 2-run homer by Nathan Church to right field on a 1-2 pitch to tie the game at 5. Clayton Beeter, he tossed a scoreless top of the 9th despite issuing a leadoff walk and a 2-out intentional walk. And Cole Henry, he in the top of the 10th allowed 2 runs, 1 earned on 2 RBI doubles. Here was Nats manager Blake Butera during his postgame press conference on Tuesday night on his relief pitching, and then you'll hear multiple follow-up exchanges.
I mean, just 10 walks is too many. Yeah, we can't beat teams when we're walking 10 people.
I know you don't know directly what you can attribute the walks to, perhaps, but was that something where you thought that might be a problem coming out of spring training, or is that something that surprised you a little bit?
It surprised me. I didn't see it in spring training. I'm not sure. Gonna talk through it. Just behind count, it's hard to pitch to major league hitters when you're working behind.
What is the emotional toll of a loss like that?
It stings. This is a few times now where we've had leads late in games and just haven't been able to put teams away.
Do you approach those now where you say, okay, I'm going to give the same guys another opportunity, or do you look at, say, it's somebody else's, next man up to give it a shot?
It's a combination. I mean, I don't want to overreact to a guy having a rough outing, but also want to give other bullpen arms opportunities to earn leverage roles, and so it's a combination of both.
How hard is that balance to strike between looking at a guy's reputation or the numbers they have versus the feelings of what you see actually out there? How hard is that balance to strike when you're trying to manage a game?
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, you obviously want to win every night, but also you're balancing not overreacting to a couple games versus trying to put your best arms out there. It's tough to balance the two.
Yeah, the Nats bullpen is not good. This is a team that has restarted a rebuild. This is a team with a microscopic player payroll. The bullpen is not good. The Nats for this regular season have the following relief pitching stats. Brace yourself. ERA of 6.39, whip of 1.74, 14 home runs allowed. Speaking of home runs, the Nats do continue to hit home runs. 2 more in this 7-6 10-inning loss to the Cardinals at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening. The Nats were good offensively. 6 runs, 10 hits, which were 2 home runs, and 8 singles, 4 walks, 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position, 5 for 5 on stolen bases. The Nats for this regular season have a team OPS of .804 and have hit 16 home runs, 16 homers over just 11 games. James Wood, he now has homered in each of the Nats' last 3 games. He's hot. He is the Nats' starting left fielder and number 1 batter, went 2 for 4 with a solo homer, a single, and a walk. And he had a stolen base. Wood in the Nats' 1-run third had a leadoff opposite field homer to left center field on a 1-2 pitch to tie the game at 2. The homer marked him homering for a third consecutive game. His OPS for this regular season all of a sudden is up to 820. C.J. Abrams, another good game for him. He is an at-starting shortstop and number 6 batter, went 2 for 4 with an RBI single, another single and a walk, and he went 2 for 2 on stolen bases. Did commit that run-scoring fielding error, but Abrams in the Nats 2-run fifth had a 2-out first pitch RBI single into right field for a 4-2 Nats lead, and he had to steal a second base. Abrams for this regular season has an OPS of 1,028. Curtis Mead, the Aussie, he is the Nats starting first baseman and number 2 batter, went 3 for 4 with a solo homer, an RBI single, and another single, and he had a stolen base. Curtis Mead, the Nats on March 28th announced having traded minor league catcher Boston Smith to the Chicago White Sox for Mead, who is from Australia and who at the major league level has primarily played first base, second base, and third base. So the Nats on March 29th announced having optioned first baseman Andres Chaparro to AAA Rochester. So Mead is at the major league level, Chaparro is at the minor league level, and Mead is doing well. He and the Nats 2-run fifth had a 1-out solo homer to left center field for a 3-2 Nats lead. He and the Nats 1-run sixth had a 2-out RBI single up the middle for a 5-2 Nats lead. Mead in this regular season has an OPS of 1,079. And Dalen Lyle, he is the Nats starting DH and number 4 batter, went 1 for 4 with an RBI single and a walk. Lyle in the Nats 1-run first, had a 1-out first pitch RBI single to center field to cut the Nats deficit to 2-1. More good offense by the Nats, but more bad pitching, especially from the bullpen, and thus another loss. Game 3 for the Nats against the Cardinals at Nationals Park, Wednesday afternoon at 4:05. Miles Michaelis will be the Nats starting pitcher. For the first time in MLB's 2026 regular season, the Baltimore Orioles have a winning streak. A 4-2 win at the Chicago White Sox on Tuesday in Game 2 of a 3-game series. This was a game in which the O's overcame a 2-1 eighth-inning deficit. The O's now are 5-6. Now, the O's have scored just 14 runs over the team's last 5 games, but the O's now have won 2 consecutive games, thanks largely to the pitching. The Orioles starting pitcher in this 4-2 win at the White Sox on Tuesday was their ace, Trevor Rogers. He was good again. He allowed 2 runs in 6 innings with 6 strikeouts versus no walks. He gave up 6 hits, which were 2 doubles and 4 singles. He threw a lot of pitches, but also a lot of strikes, as he threw 101 pitches, 70 strikes versus just 31 balls. Here was O's manager Craig Albernaz during his postgame session with reporters on Tuesday evening on Trevor Rogers.
Trevor, it wasn't his best. But he just keeps on competing, and he was filling up the strike zone. He was landing his off-speed stuff. He got a little out of whack that one inning, but he kept on going, and he gave us 6. And that 6th inning, we were kind of going back and forth about if to take him out, when to take him out, but he was efficient, and he kept on throwing strikes. He kept on forcing the hitters to make decisions, kept on forcing weak contact. So it was awesome for him to give us 6.
Yes, it was, and Trevor Rogers has picked up right where he left off last season. Trevor Rogers now over 3 starts in this regular season, ERA of 1.89, whip of 1.05. This off his amazing success last regular season at the major league level, 18 games, all starts, ERA of 1.81, whip of 0.903. The Orioles relief pitching in this 4-2 win at the White Sox on Tuesday was great. 4 Orioles relievers combined for 3 scoreless and hitless innings with 6 strikeouts. Yadier Cano tossed a perfect bottom of the 7th. Grant Wolfram tossed 2/3 of a scoreless and hitless inning. He in the bottom of the 8th faced 3 batters, recording 2 strikeouts and a hit by pitch. Anthony Nunez faced 1 batter and got 1 out, which was a strikeout to end the bottom of the 8th with a runner on second base and the O's holding a 4-2 lead. He did issue a 2-out wild pitch. And the Orioles closer, Ryan Helsley, who had struggled lately, he tossed a scoreless and hitless bottom of the 9th for the save. He issued a leadoff 5-pitch walk, but then generated 2 strikeouts and induced a flyout to end the game. His four-seam fastball velocity peaked at 100.2 miles per hour per StatCast. The Orioles offense in this 4-2 win at the White Sox on Tuesday was so-so, although the game time temperature was a mere 36 degrees. As you may recall, the start time for this game got moved up due to the cold. The game was supposed to start at 7:40 p.m. Eastern, got moved up to 3:10 p.m. Eastern. The O's scored just 4 runs, went just 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position and struck out 13 times. But the O's totaled 8 hits, which were a home run, 2 doubles, and 5 singles. And the O's worked 8 walks and 2 hit-by pitches. So the O's got on base a bunch. Their 2 best hitters in this game were the team's 2 best hitters so far in this regular season, Gunnar Henderson and Taylor Ward.
1-1 for Gunnar. Taylor Ward at second, and this ball jacked to right field. Well struck. Hill racing back. It's gone! Yeah. Left on left. Gunnar Henderson slams the Orioles in front.
Big time. Big time. Leave it up to the kid, folks. Gunnar Henderson, when the lights are the brightest and the stage is the biggest, he seems to come up big. 105 off the bat, 387 feet it went.
Kevin Brown and Ben McDonald on Masson. Gunnar Henderson, he is the Orioles starting DH and number 2 batter, went 2 for 4 with a 2-run homer, a single, and a walk. Henderson in the Orioles 3-run 8th had a 1-out 2-run homer to right field for a 4-2 Orioles lead, and the homer came off White Sox lefty reliever Chris Murphy, marking Henderson homering off a lefty for a second consecutive day. Understand that Gunnar Henderson had just 3 home runs off left-handed pitching the entire 2025 regular season. Is he finally figuring out left-handed pitching? Henderson entered the game with the following career splits in regular season games: 889 OPS versus right-handed pitching versus 684 OPS versus left-handed pitching. Gunnar Henderson already is a terrific player. If he's finally figuring out left-handed pitching, watch out. Gunnar Henderson now for this regular season has an OPS of 889. And Taylor Ward, he is the Orioles starting left fielder and number 1 batter, went 1 for 3 with an RBI double and 2 walks. So Ward in the Orioles 3-run 8th had a 1-out opposite field RBI double to right field to tie the game at 2. Ward for this regular season now has an OPS of 907. Roster moves by the O's. They on Tuesday morning announced having a quad relief pitcher Nick Rickey from the St. Louis Cardinals via trade. The O's traded minor league infielder/outfielder Braden Smith to the Cardinals. The O's on Tuesday morning announced having option starting pitcher Brandon Young to AAA Norfolk. Young in the Orioles' 2-1 win at the White Sox on Monday night, tossed 5 scoreless innings. And the O's on Tuesday morning announced having transferred starting pitcher Zach Eflin to the 60-day injured list in a clear sign that they expect him to be out for a while, maybe the rest of the season. The O's last Wednesday morning, April 1st, announced having placed Eflin on the 15-day injured list due to right elbow discomfort, which often is a precursor to needing UCL surgery. Eflin is coming off an injury-ravaged 2025 season. He in the 2025 regular season made just 14 starts, was really bad, and he had 3 different stints on the 15-day injured list, eventually landed on the 60-day injured list. He on August 18th, 2025 underwent season-ending back surgery. Eflin on Tuesday was to receive a second opinion on his right elbow discomfort, but you think about this logically, you usually don't seek a second opinion if you liked the first opinion. Game 3 for the O's at the White Sox Wednesday afternoon at 2:10. Kyle Bradish will be the Orioles starting pitcher. And that'll do it for you and me for now, but there's more to come. Thursday's show, episode 1299, will provide you with more on the Washington Commanders. Also on Thursday's show, I'll talk Washington Capitals, Washington Nationals, and Baltimore Orioles. The Caps are at the Toronto Maple Leafs Wednesday night at 7:30. The Nats are home to the St. Louis Cardinals Wednesday afternoon at 4:05 for Game 3 of a 3-game series. The O's are at the Chicago White Sox Wednesday afternoon at 2:10 for Game 3 of a 3-game series. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll talk to you on Thursday.
The damn Washington Wizards.